Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to do some speed reviews on luxury makeup that I have purchased this year. So I decided that I was going to just focus on new releases of 2022, but I wanted to do like a full roundup on products that I started purchasing in the beginning of January 2022 and tell you if I'm still using these items, if I think they are worth the money, because I feel like, if you don't know, I am trying to do a bit of a low buy this year and just buy makeup that really speaks to me, that I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of, that I'm actually going to use up and go through. And I just feel like a lot of the times we just focus on what is new and we end up with so much in our collection that it is just overwhelming. We never use that makeup. So I'm trying to be really conscious of that fact. I don't want to overconsume makeup where I can't use all the products that I have. That's just been a really important aspect to me, especially this year. And that is just a focal point of my channel. I want to invest in good quality products that I am going to actually wear and use up. So I just thought I'd go over everything I purchased and let you know if I think that is worth the money. I'm going to start off with primers. I actually have only tried one primer this year, and it's not even technically a primer. This is the Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint, and yes, I will be doing a get ready with me using some of these products as well so you can see them in action. I couldn't apply all of them onto my face, but I just selected kind of the best of the best so I can show you. But this first one is the Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint. This does only come in one shade, which is kind of disappointing. Hopefully they will expand this. Maybe they just wanted to test out and see how this shade would perform. But this is in the shade Sheer Bronze. So you can use this in a variety of different ways. You can actually use this as a bronzing product. If you can see the shade there, it's not super deep bronze in shade. It is probably like maybe 2 to 3 shades deeper than my skin tone. And my favorite way to use this product is actually to use it as a facial primer. So it has a really, really lovely texture. It's very thin texture and it just sits on the skin very beautifully, and it doesn't claim to have any coverage, even though it's called a face tint, but I think it has a very slight amount of coverage, and it does this really beautiful blurring effect on your skin. And you can't see makeup sitting on top of your skin, but it just gives you a really pretty tint of color. I'm someone that I actually self-tan, and my face never matches my body, so I like to use this just on its own on a daily basis, and then I can go in with a little bit of concealer. And this would be a gorgeous product just to use if you're someone that doesn't like foundation, because it offers just a really sheer amount of coverage. It just kind of blurs the appearance of texture and pores and just makes your skin look a little bit more perfected. And then if you just want to add a little bit more perfection, I would go in with a facial concealer, but it doesn't give me that much color. It just gives me enough color to match my body. If I wanted like a super, super light tone bronzer, I probably could use this as a really, really, really light bronzer, and it would look very natural and sheer. So I do think it would be appropriate to use that as a very lightweight bronzer. It's kind of like a jelly texture, but it is just a very nice texture to work with. It is very lightweight. It feels very cooling on the skin. And I do like it better than the by Terry Cc Serum, and I do like it better than the Victoria Beckham, what is that called? Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. Those primers have more shimmer to them. And while you can't detect particles of shimmer, they do just leave a bit more of a sheen than maybe what I really like, especially if I'm not going over top with foundation. This just adds a better perfecting effect. It adds a better blurring effect. It doesn't have as much sheen as the other two, and I do prefer the color of this one because it is warmer toned. It's not an orange tone bronzer, but the Victoria Beckham, I don't know, it doesn't give much of a tint, and it just has a bit too much sheen for me. And then the by Terry Cc Serum, it is quite red toned. So I don't love that one, and I know some of you have asked me if that one is red toned, and it is red toned. This one is more of a warm base that's not orange, but it's a warmer kind of golden tone, and I just think this suits my skin better. Really, really lovely if you haven't tried that out. And then let's move on to foundations. I'm trying to make these speed reviews because I have the tendency to talk a lot, so I don't want to go super in-depth. I'm just trying to make these speed reviews to get through them quick and let you know if they're worth the price or not. But with foundations, let me know if you want to see like a full roundup or a ranking of all the foundations I've tried. But quickly going into foundation, some of the best ones I've tried so far, the Dior Capture Totale, such a good foundation. It is a beautiful medium coverage, gives such a gorgeous perfecting effect without it being makeup-y on the skin. Truly my favorite foundation in my collection. And then we recently had the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh Complexion Touch. I've mentioned this in a few favorite videos, so if you hadn't heard my thoughts on this before, I truly think this one is worth the money. I really do like the Water Fresh tint as well, which is the version prior that has a little bit less coverage. This does the exact same job as the Chanel Water Fresh tint, so it leaves you with a really nice blurred effect. It really perfects the texture on your skin, and it doesn't add a lot of coverage. This one, I'd say you could build to maybe not quite a medium coverage, almost medium coverage, but it's so beautiful on the skin. It feels lightweight, doesn't fade or crease throughout the day. It performs really well in humid and hot weather. Like I said, it doesn't fade or separate or move throughout the day. It's just a really beautiful foundation. I find it's long wearing. This is something that I like to wear on a daily basis because it's not too much coverage for every day. It's not too little coverage for every day. Just such a great all-rounder. I also tested out the Chanel No. 1 foundation this year. So many people rave about this foundation, but I am someone who does not think that this is worth the price tag. And I think it looks really beautiful on the skin, and it has that blurred effect that I really enjoy. So when I apply it on the skin, I think it's gorgeous. It adds just a beautiful glow to the skin without being over the top. But then once you have been wearing it for about 4 hours, it doesn't perform well because while it doesn't separate or crease or sink into any lines or anything on your skin, or it doesn't emphasize dry patches, it becomes incredibly greasy looking. And I am going to say greasy looking. It looks horrible on my skin after a while because it looks like I have an oil slick on my skin after, I would say 6 hours is when it really looks greasy and oily, and it just does not look good. Like, you definitely need to have powder in your bag if you are wearing this foundation. Not long wearing at all. So for that reason, I don't think this is worth it, even though I think it looks beautiful on the skin for the first 4 hours. I just think there are foundations that last a little bit longer than this one. I think you would be better off going with the Dior Capture Totale because these have that same beautiful blurred effect with a slight glow, but this one is incredibly long lasting and looks blurred on the skin throughout the whole entire day and is just the most beautiful. And this one, unfortunately, just doesn't have the best longevity quality in my opinion. I also tried the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation. So this was a reformulated version of the Radiant Cream Foundation that Clé de Peau re-released this year. I really enjoy this foundation. It gives you a really nice medium buildable to full coverage. So if you're someone that likes coverage, this is a great one. It does start to get a little, I don't want to say greasy, but I feel like if you are someone with oily skin, you will require touch-ups with this product. I'm someone with dry skin, and I think by the end of, I'd say 8 to 10 hours, I do start to look a little bit shiny. So I would probably touch up after that amount of time, but it does perform really beautifully. It doesn't separate or crease. It gives you a beautiful coverage. It looks really beautiful in person as well for being a fuller coverage foundation. And I just find that, like I said, after about 8 to 10 hours, I do require a little bit of touch up with this one because it does get a little bit shiny, but it doesn't borderline into the greasy that the Chanel No. 1 does. So it's really, really lovely if you like something with a fuller coverage because Clé de Peau foundations, a lot of them are more of that sheer to light coverage. So this just offers a little bit more. Really beautiful, but you can sheer this one out if you mix it with a moisturizer. You can mix it with the Chantecaille Anti-Aging Skin Tint. I have done that, and it's a really beautiful combination because then I find it sheers out this product a little more and just looks a little bit more natural on the skin. But a really good one. Again, if you like that blurred effect on your skin, that almost looks like you've applied a filter. This is a really nice one. And then finally, we have the new Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation, which I have tried out, I guess it's been almost a month now. This is really beautiful for a fuller coverage foundation. I would say this is a true medium for sure, buildable to full coverage. It really does a good job of just, I don't want to say it covers everything on the skin. You can still see a little bit of skin texture showing through. But if you're looking for something with coverage, this is a great option. And I'm someone, again, that has really dry skin. And I think for a fuller coverage foundation, this actually looks really nice on my skin. It is not sitting on top of the skin. It does kind of melt right into the skin. And while it's not going to look like, you're definitely going to look like you're wearing makeup, but it's not cakey, it's not heavy. It doesn't accentuate texture. It adds a really beautiful blurred effect, and it sits on the skin throughout the entire day. So I find this incredibly long lasting. If you are looking for something that you can wear from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., this is a foundation for you. On me, it does not budge, it does not get shiny, it does not get oily looking at all. I don't ever have to touch up. This is something I can apply on my skin, and I can expect it to look that way throughout the entire day without worrying about it. And I've also found that it mixes really well into other foundations. So say if I want to wear like the Chanel No. 1 foundation, but I want more longevity and I want a little bit more coverage, I can add like half a pump of this foundation, and it always performs really well with other foundations, which is really nice as well. Let's move on to concealer. So I've actually haven't tried any under eye concealers this year because I'm just so picky with under eye concealers, and I really like the ones that I have currently, so I kind of don't want to stray. But I have tried the new Clé de Peau. This is just the concealer. They re-released this again. I guess Clé de Peau is kind of going through a reformulation phase, and they reformulated this concealer, and I actually like this one even better, which is great when they reformulate something and you like the newer version better, because that doesn't always happen. But this is a beautiful full coverage. This is a full-on coverage concealer. If you're looking for coverage, get this one. This covers up any discoloration, if you have any post blemish marks, if you have any redness, any sort of dark spots or anything like that. If you have any issues basically on your skin that you want a full coverage concealer, this will cover it up, and it does it in a beautiful way where, again, sometimes with fuller coverage products, you run into that issue where things can maybe look puckered or they can look really textured on the skin because, of course, you are adding coverage to something, and especially if you are suffering with texture, sometimes it can just make it stand out a little bit more. But this has a truly beautiful skin quality effect to it, so it really does adhere and melt into the skin in a really nice way where it doesn't emphasize that texture or emphasize that area that you are trying to conceal, because sometimes, like I said, if you add something fuller coverage, it can do the opposite effect and bring attention to that area. This doesn't at all, because it has that quality where it melts into the skin, and it just sits beautifully, and it never gets raised throughout the day. It never disappears throughout the day. You never have to touch up on product. But for me, I love this as a facial concealer only. Under the eyes, this is way too heavy. It just doesn't, it's interesting because on the face it melts in, but on the under eyes, I just think it's a little bit too full coverage to really look really natural on the under eyes, because I think when people look at you, they're looking at your eyes first, and I think this just looks a little bit too heavy when you are focusing it on the under eye area, unless you use just a tiny bit of product, like a little minuscule amount. But for me, this is really good as a facial concealer, but under the eyes, I think it's just a little bit too heavy for me. Moving on to bronzers, there's one here that I do not have because I returned it, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer. I feel like the only one that does not like that one. I really, really disliked it. The color was so weird. So I picked up the shade 2 Medium, and on me, it almost turned like this green color. It just did not meld with my skin very nicely. It was really, really pigmented as well, which I find a little difficult to use with a cream bronzer, because if they're too pigmented, they can just be harder to blend. And that is the issue I had with it. I did try to go in with less product, but it was just a cream bronzer formula that I was not a huge fan of. I just felt like you could always detect the cream bronzer. It just did not blend in a seamless way. It always ended up looking a little bit patchy. And the color, and it might have just been the color, because the color was the main thing that I could notice. I just really did not like that one. I know so many people love it though, so I feel like my experience is way different. Maybe I just got a product that was off a little bit. I don't know. I want to mention the Chanel bronzer that was released for the summer collection. I definitely want to mention this one because I did pick up some really beautiful limited edition release products, and I would get your hands on it while you can, unless you're someone that doesn't like to pick up limited edition products because you can't pick them up once they're gone. But this is truly one of the best bronzers that I have ever tried. This is my #1 bronzer in my collection currently. It is massive. You can see it's like almost the size of my head. It is huge. So this is the Chanel Le Beige Oversize Healthy Glow Sun Kiss Powder in the shade Sun Kiss Medium. What a beautiful formula. It is definitely more a powder formula, so you do need to go in with like your brush, tap off that excess product, get off that excess product on the back of your hand. but it's a really beautiful powder formula. When you feel the formula, it feels incredibly silky. It is super finely milled, and I just love the color of this one because while it is more of a powdery product, it blends onto the skin like a dream. It is so seamless when you apply it. There are no harsh lines, and it adds a really nice blurred effect. Again, I like products that add a blurred effect that make you kind of look like you're wearing a filter. I just like products that do that. I don't like something that's overly shimmery. I don't like something that's too matte. I don't want to be able to detect any shimmer. I don't want to see shimmer sitting on top of my skin. And while this does give like a little bit of a glow, you can't detect any shimmer particles. It's just such a fantastic formula. I am so impressed with this one. This is the Guerlain Terracotta Light Sun-Kissed Healthy Glow Powder in the shade 03 Medium Warm. So I really love Guerlain bronzers because they do offer it in different undertones and different color options. So you get more than just 3 offerings. You get, I think there's like 7 in total. So they offer them in like light, medium, deep. And then you get warm and cool toned bronzers. So you can pick based on your personal complexion, which I really enjoy because a lot of companies just offer like 3 different bronzers and they're all warm toned or they're all red toned. But this is such a beautiful bronzer. Again, I really like it because while it does offer a glow, you can't detect any shimmer particles on the skin. And this bronzer is unique because you can't even see it because I have used this bronzer to death. But basically it is supposed to be like a combination of a bronzer, highlight, and blush in one. Now, I can't really detect the highlighting powders in here because I don't think anything's super shimmery like a highlighter is. But it's a really beautiful texture. Again, this is a more buildable bronzer. It is not as powdery as the Chanel bronzer I mentioned. It just blends onto the skin seamlessly. It is just such a flattering bronzer. It gives you the perfect amount of color to your skin. And because there is a hint of peach in here, because of that kind of blush tone, it makes me look so youthful and so healthy. This is just health in a compact. One of the most beautiful bronzers. I just think this is one of the best bronzers in my collection because, again, it's just so youthful and healthy looking on the skin. I'm always so impressed by how my complexion looks when I use this product. Now let's talk about blush. So blush is something I actually haven't really picked up this year. There have been no blush releases that have really called to me or that I have wanted to pick up, except for the Chanel Les Beiges Water Fresh Blush. And I do really want to mention this because in my review of this product, I told you guys I didn't think this was worth the money. Basically, I told you to wait on reviews and that I just felt like this was a finicky product. I felt like I was never going to use it, but it actually has not been that way at all. I really, really love this blush, and I'll tell you a few different reasons why. Again, I'm trying to get through these quicker, so I'm not gonna rant on, but I really love this, especially if you're someone with sensitive skin like me who can't use normal cream blushes because they make you break out. The oils in cream blushes are just not friendly to people with acne-prone sensitive skin. But this, as a more liquid cream blush, it doesn't have any of those oils or any of those ingredients that are going to react with your skin and make them super sensitive. So I love it for that reason. I also really love it because of how it just performs and it looks on the skin. Again, if you're comparing it to other cream blushes really fade on the skin super quick. This does not. This lasts all day long. It is extremely long wearing. It is even more long wearing than my powder blushes. Once it sets on the skin, it is not going to move. And I think this color is beautiful. Now, at first, it was hard to kind of work around using this product because when you are first beginning to use this product, it is a little bit finicky because it's just different than other cream blushes. It's obviously different than a powder blush, so you have to kind of get used to working with it. But what I have found works the best with this blush is that I will deposit a little bit onto the back of my hand. Now I apply it to the back of my hand because the back of my hand does have pores, so it will absorb some of that product. And because this is extremely pigmented, I want my pores basically to absorb some of this product so that I don't get too much product. What you need to do is you need to kind of break up there's like pigment beads in this. You need to break up the pigment beads first before just applying it straight from your hand and then applying it on a brush or a sponge. So I break up those beads and I let it set for maybe like, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds. And then I'll go in with a brush. You want to make sure it's a small brush that's not going to kind of take over your face. And then I'll just go in with a little bit of product. Just pick up, not like I pumped it, probably a quarter of a pump. And I go in with just a tiny, tiny bit of that product. Maybe, I don't know, an eighth of that product that I've deposited on the back of my hand. And then you can go and press it onto the skin. You might even want to take a paper towel and dab the excess off just in case. So yes, you need to be a little bit more finicky when applying this. It's not going to be like quick get out the door makeup, like I need to get my makeup done in 5 minutes. You're gonna want a little bit more time to apply your makeup, which may be the reason why people don't like that, and I can totally understand that. If you're someone that just wants your makeup done in 10 minutes, not the product you want to reach for. But I love it for how it looks on the skin. It melts into the skin and looks extremely natural. You cannot see product sitting on top of your skin. It looks like you just have a flush of color, and this also performs beautifully on top of powder products, which is so rare for a cream blush. But I know I really love this one. It is so great. If you want something that is extremely long wearing, looks extremely natural on the skin, gives you a beautiful flush of color. Such a great one. I quickly want to mention this beautiful Chanel Red de Camellia. One of my subscribers, Diana, sent me this highlighter because it sold out in Canada, and I just want to thank you again, Diana. This is my favorite highlighter in my collection because it's the most special to me. It just means so much that you would think of me to send this product to me. Such a beautiful one. I hope you guys got your hands on this one because it's just gorgeous. Chanel's permanent highlighters I do not love, but all their limited edition releases are so beautiful. They're that Big Chalet, just gorgeous on the skin. They give you that wet, beautiful glow. So for me, they're worth the splurge, even though they are limited edition. And then the newest highlighter in my collection, this is the Chantecaille Sunbeam Cheek and Eye Shade. So I guess technically this is both a highlighter and you can use it on your eyes. But today I have used it as the highlighter on my cheeks. It does perform really well as a highlighter on your cheeks and your eyes. For me, I don't think it's too deep on my cheekbones because it doesn't give a lot of color payoff, especially if you're applying it in a sheer way just as a highlighter. But it gives you the most beautiful, beautiful glossy cheeks. This makes your cheeks just have a gorgeous glow without detectable shimmer. It's just a sheen. It just makes your cheeks look glossy. It makes them look like they are glowing from within, that wet, dewy, beautiful look. It is like you've applied a liquid illuminator onto your face, but you get that ease of application with using a powder product. Like, just look how finely milled and wet and glossy it looks. It just melts like that onto your cheeks, and it doesn't look harsh. It doesn't look like too much product. It is so beautiful because there are no detectable shimmers. All the shimmer particles are very tightly packed together so that you get that gorgeous glossy effect versus like this crazy highlighter sitting on your skin. Such a beautiful, beautiful product. Okay, let's move to the eyes. I feel like I'm trying to be quick, but I am not succeeding at it. So I also picked up the Victoria Beckham. She released a new shade in her lid luster, and it was the shade Starlight. I'm a little disappointed with this one. So I've also have the shade Chiffon and Honey. If you're gonna pick up one, pick up Honey because it is the best, not the best one in done eyeshadow. It's one of the best one in done eyeshadows, but I really like that one because it's not too glittery. The sheen that that one gives is more sophisticated and elegant. This one, it's nice, but it's a little bit too chunky for my liking. Like, you can actually detect those glitter particles on the eye. It's just not as refined as I usually like in an eyeshadow, but it is really nice if you want something a bit more intense. Like, I think this is a gorgeous color for the fall time. It's quite a warm tone bronze, so I think this would be nice in the evening. It just doesn't give me that glossy eye effect like I normally love. So for me, I have reached for this. I think I used it in a video. I haven't touched it since. So for me, I don't think this is worth the money. The chiffon color, it's really chunky as well. I've worn it once again, I think maybe for a video, or I tried it once and just was a little bit disappointed. It's not the same as the Honey shade. The Chanel Mediterranean quad. I'm not going to go on about this because this was limited edition. This is my favorite quad in my entire collection. Really, really wish Chanel would release, maybe not this same palette, but if they come out with this formula again, please come out with this formula, Chanel in the permanent line. Come out with this formula. It's beautiful. It's the best palette, like I said, in my entire collection. I also tried all the Tom Ford. These were the cream to powder. These were the Eye Color Quad Cremes. Now I don't have the Rose Topaz one anymore because I never used that one, so that is given away. But the Tiger Eye palette, gorgeous. This is one of my favorite quads in my entire collection. All of these shades are shades that I wear on a daily basis. They are more of that neutral to warm tone shade. I really love this formula. It is that cream to powder, but it's not too creamy where it actually feels like a cream shadow. It just goes on really nice like a cream would. It melts into the eyes like a cream would, so this would be fantastic for mature eyes. I gave the recommendation to my mom to get this palette, and she is in her 60s and she absolutely loves this as well. So I do know it does perform well on mature eyes. It is very beginner friendly. These shimmers offer a beautiful sheen without it being too over the top, without it being metallic, without you being able to detect glitter particles or shimmer particles. Gives you a beautiful sheen that isn't over the top. And then I really like the Smoky Quartz as well. I do want to say that I hardly use this one though. I've probably reached for it maybe 5 times this year, which isn't that much. And for that reason, I don't feel like I can wholeheartedly recommend it unless you are someone that loves this color story, unless you are someone that really likes matte shades. Because I will say that I don't reach for mattes on a daily basis. I just usually reach for shimmer shades because I think they look the best on me personally. But if you're someone that would rather mattes, I think this is a beautiful, beautiful quad. Again, the formula is so fantastic, especially for these matte shades, because they really melt into your eyes. They're very easy to work with. And then I just have one more shadow to mention. This is the Sisley Ombre Éclat Liquide eyeshadow in the shade number 2 Copper. So this is just a liquid eyeshadow. I was hesitant to pick this up at first, but some of you guys in the comments said that I really needed to try this out because it is worth it, and I have to wholeheartedly agree with you. Beautiful formula. So there is a little swatch of that here. It is called Copper, but it's not actually a copper tone. I'd say it's more of like a taupe bronze shade. There is no orange to this shade at all, but it's beautiful formula. It gives you an ever so soft sheen. It does have that pigment there, you can see, but it's not overly pigmented. No glitter chunks. There is just a very sophisticated sheen to it. It just looks so elegant on the eyes. It is incredibly long lasting, super easy to apply and blend. Sometimes with liquid eyeshadows, you have to be careful applying them to one eye at a time. You have to worry about it patching off. You have to worry about it kind of blending into nothing. This doesn't do that. This blends like a dream. It applies evenly over the eye. It blends. You can blend out the edges very seamlessly without it removing that product. They're just so easy to blend. I'm amazed. And they perform really well. They're very long lasting. They also layer very beautifully if you just want to wear this as a base and then wear an eyeshadow over top. I love layering this with my Chantecaille Luminescent eye shade. And then an eyeliner that I have also picked up and I've been loving. I'm really picky with eyeliners, but this is the Hourglass Waterproof Gel Eyeliner in the shade Obsidian. This is great in the tight line. If you're looking for something that does not transfer at all, get this eyeliner. This is one of the best. It does not move from the top waterline to the bottom, which is super important. I have not tried this on the top lash line because I don't really like black on my top, like in my waterline. I just don't like black eyeliner except for in my tight line. But this is fantastic. It does not move at all throughout the day. And then moving on to lip products. I have actually been doing very well with not picking up very many lip products, which was a goal of mine because lip products are like the thing to go bad first, and I just want to use up some of my lip products versus just buying things that I won't even use anyways. So I've been really particular about that. And some new releases that I did pick up. Actually, Merit Beauty did send this one to me, so I do want to make that clear. This was the one product. I purchased everything else myself. This was the one product that was sent to me. But this is probably my favorite lipstick release of the year so far. Look how much I've used of that lipstick, and I have had it for maybe 3 or 4 months. This is my everyday lipstick. This is one of the best lipsticks I have ever tried. It really reminds me of the Chantecaille like Lip Chic formula or their Lip Veil formula. Probably more similar to the Lip Veil formula, but it's less of a glossy finish and actually applies more sheer. And I love it for that reason. It almost feels like a satin lipstick would, but it's way less pigmented. And it just is so comfortable on the lips for being a sheer lightweight lipstick. Lightweight lipstick is the perfect name. This is called the Signature Lip Lightweight Lipstick. The shade I love the most is Baby. The most gorgeous, just pinky nude. It is my perfect My Lips But Better shade. and it feels like nothing on the lips. It is so lightweight. I don't require a lip liner when I wear this formula. I love this lipstick, and it's actually sold out at Sephora right now, but when it comes back into stock, I am getting a backup because I can't imagine not having this in my collection. This is just something I wear literally on an everyday basis. It's so good. And then Sisley also released their Phyto-Rouge Shines. I picked up 2 shades in the shade Sheer Nude and Sheer Petal. This one right here is Sheer Petal. This is gorgeous as well. This is very similar to like the Chanel Rouge Cocoa Flashes, but it adheres to your lips a little bit better than the Chanel Rouge Cocoa Flashes. So the Rouge Cocoa Flashes offer more of that glossy, almost oily feeling to your lips. They feel like you've applied kind of like a lip oil. They're very glossy, give a bit more of a slip, but these actually adhere to the lips really well. They have more of a waxy feeling to them. They are gorgeous, and even though they have that more glossy finish, they aren't going to run outside your lip line. They are so comfortable. They are not long wearing in the slightest. You're going to get like 2 hours of wear out of this, but I don't mind touching up a product like that because they just look luscious on your lips. They make your lips look even better, and once they fade off your lips almost feel like they've had a lip conditioner on them. And then something I disliked was the Dior. These are the new Dior Addict. I don't even know what these are called. These are the Dior Addict Shines. They don't even have the name on the bottom of this, but it's the Dior Shines because I remember I was so excited to try these out because they were supposed to be kind of similar in vein in the Sisley, what are these called again? The Rouge Shine, Phyto-Rouge Shine, and then they're supposed to be like similar to the Chanel Rouge Cocoa Flashes. So while they're kind of similar, they do give you a nice sheer tint of color. You would think they're really nice, but I really dislike these for a few reasons. One, they do offer that beautiful shine. They look really nice on the lips initially, but they start to transfer outside your lip line, and then you'll look like you just can't apply lipstick. It looks like a toddler applied your lipstick because it starts to like seep outside your lip lines and just looks terrible after like 30 minutes. So really dislike it for that reason. It also doesn't melt into your lips. Like with these lighter weight lipsticks and with the Rouge Cocoa Flashes from Chanel, they'll melt into your lips and just give your lips like a really beautiful glossy effect. These actually sit into the lip lines. They accentuate your lip lines. They make everything look drier. Like if you have dry lips, they make it look worse, which is surprising for a formula like this. And then I also hate the scent of these. It is sickly sweet. It actually makes me feel ill applying it onto my lips. It is just too sweet. Really disappointed in these actually because I was really excited about them, but I just don't like basically anything about them. I feel like that's kind of a downer ending it on that note. But those are all the products that I've tried in 2022. I wanted to do a roundup. I wanted this to be quick, but I feel like I was not quick in my thoughts. Let me know what you have picked up this year. I would love to know your standout products of the year. If you have maybe 3 to 5, you could list down below because I would love to try those out as well if you have some recommendations. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.